be here.
Again, Eddie, it's a pleasure to welcome you to the Baptist Show. Having you as the first guest on this show is just a tremendous honor.
Hey, it's always good to be first in anything, so I appreciate it. And I thank you for giving me the opportunity to be your first guest.
Absolutely, brother. Absolutely. So, Eddie, as you know, lately a lot's been happening in Africa. A lot has been happening in the US as well. So, before we even get into the current news, let's talk about Africa a bit through your eyes as a son of Africa.
Well, where do I start? Obviously, for the sake of time, I was born and grew up in Nigeria, and then I went and played in Europe, and before moving to the US, right? So that's over maybe 40 years of experience in traveling and living in different continents. And of course, with that, there are things that's constantly changing.
Mhm,
There's a lot of evolution, a lot of changes going on, but at the same time, there are certain things that hasn't changed in Nigeria.
mhm,
The Western world sees Africa differently from how Africans see it.
mhm.
As you're probably aware,
Of
after
course.
many years, I just recently went back in June. Yeah, I went to Africa, I went to Senegal and Gambia on a football um, perspective, right?
Mhm,
But the thing I took back, I took a lot of things back. It humbled me in the sense that I see some progress, but I saw some static lack of movement. But, you know, conclusively, I was able to realize that these people find a way to use little and make a lot out of it. Okay?
Eddie, let me stop you for a moment before we come to the present day, right? Let's go backward a little bit because, yeah, we know there's an emergence of a new Africanism, if we coin this term today. But back in the days, growing up, the pride you saw on this trip, did you see the same pride growing up as well in Africa?
No, no, no. It's definitely not the same because obviously modernization is kind of taking a lot of that out of it. I do see some element of entitlement, which for me, it started from, the civilized world. Back in those days in Africa, we want to play for our country, right? Anything we want to do is for the country. And beyond that is for the continent of Africa. Okay.
Mhm,
The new generations now is self-serving.
okay.
Obviously everybody is that me, myself, and I mentality.
Mhm,
So I don't see that it's very few that has that African pride. I
mhm,
mean, we can even blame it on those of us that are in diaspora,
mhm.
but we cannot make excuses.
Yeah,
We cannot make excuses.
no, that makes sense. But now the reason why I ask you the question because I know we're not gonna dive deep into the politics aspect because when you see Niger, Mali, and so many other different African states, it seems as though young people are rising up against, let's say, the French and foreign interests in their country. So when you went on this journey, on this last trip, even though it was football, soccer related, you do not perceive the same pride from back in the days as it is right now?
No, no. Nigeria is a very interesting situation arising there.
Mhm.
The military coup are not new to African nations, right? Um,
Eddie, just so you know, we lost you on video for a moment. I don't know if it's on my end or your end.
um, it's got to be on your end.
Okay.
My video's still up here.
Okay.
Like I said, Nigeria is a very interesting country in Africa.
Mhm.
It's one of the largest country in Africa. I don't know if everybody knows,
Mhm.
but its main export is uranium. Okay, global export of uranium. And that being said, they're one of those countries whereby, they anti-jihadists, but when you have a coup like that, which in my opinion, um, it's trying to rebel against the French colonization and the French influence in that. We have to be careful to see, okay, which is a bigger enemy? The Russian influence, playing a part of it,
Gotcha.
okay? Or, our extreme is the colonization of the French Republic and the influence they have. And like you said, there's Mali, Gabon, and those other neighboring countries that have some turmoil, right? But you look at the pros and cons, the current president-elect, right? The current president-elect is a democratically elected president.
Gotcha.
But then you have the military coup that wants to take over now. They're now imprisoning him.
Yeah.
Okay. So now the US have to think about it, the global world, but the impact on Africa, it's Africanism. It could start something different. In Nigeria, obviously, is one of the most populated and most powerful country in Africa. We got to see what is Nigeria going to do about it, because they're right above Nigeria, right?
They
It is
share a common
something.
border for those that don't know.
Yes, yes. So it is very interesting to see, is the military the best option for Niger Republic, or do we want to stick with the democratic system of an elected president that's now in prison, right?
Yeah. Eddie, this is quite interesting, as you mentioned, but I'll also bring up the fact that the French meddling in Niger's affairs over 2 centuries, producing electricity and exporting it to their country on the cheap, while the average Nigerians from Niger does not even know about power or electricity, has contributed a great deal to the frustration of the local population and really trying to get a system that works for them. Now, is it democracy? Is it militarism? I don't know. And I think that's the point you're making as well. So hopefully we can get someone from Niger to explain their perspective to us. But they are your neighbors, so you should know better than I do, right?
Right. And we talk about it, the fact that exploitation is not common only to, isolated to Niger, right? The colonial masters, the Portuguese, the English, the French, the Spanish, they evolve and continue to exploit, right? Okay, so if I was to sit back as an African and say, hey, do I blame the British? Do I blame the French? Right? No, I have to look at our leadership. I can't blame you for just coming into my home and grabbing whatever you want. I'm allowing it, right? For whatever reason it is, right? So it's not your fault if you came into my abode, my home, and start just exploiting stuff and taking it away, right? It's an old, issue that's been going on. We keep blaming, passing the blame, but we're not really doing. We Africans need to stay together and stand together and unite as one. Because when colonization was going through Africa, it was systematic in the sense that they kind of broke, the West Coast, they broke them into, French, English, so we don't have one common language to communicate the way we used to. But we can look at it with modernization now, that why can't we all say, hey, Africanism, let's all be Africans. Let's stand up against this. It don't have to be war, but we can have some defiance and say, hey, get out of our country,
Eddie, you're so right on that. The divide and conquer has played a huge part in keeping Africa down and exploiting its resources. Because with the coup going on in Niger, I did not hear France say, I'm going to send legionnaires and French soldiers to Niger. What they did, they went to ECOWAS, which Nigeria is a member of, and ECOWAS has been doing their bidding, where now ECOWAS is even threatening military actions against Niger to reinstate the democratically elected president, even though the majority of the people in Niger are supporting the coup and the coup leaders. So there you have it again, that divide and conquer, even in modern day Africa.
Absolutely, absolutely. And this is part of the manipulation system that they use,
Mhm.
right? They condemn the coup, okay?
Mhm.
It's not bloody, so thank God.
Yeah,
But at the same time, right, they're going back behind and pulling the ECOWAS nation to do their dirty work for
yeah,
them.
yeah.
Now, if I'm a member of ECOWAS and I have a situation like that, I would say, hey, back off,
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
Stay away.
Mm.
Let us, because it's going to impact Nigeria, whatever goes on, right?
True.
So it is, let's make it our problem. If we
Yes,
can
sir.
tell these guys to back up, let's now see what is best for Niger and what is best for Africa.
Yeah.
If it's the military that's the best solution for Niger, like you rightly said, there's some Niger Republicans that are actually in favor of the coup,
Mhm.
right? So that could still be a democratic way of looking at it,
Yeah,
that, all right, it's a military coup, if majority are in favor of it, why should ECOWAS come in and try to change that,
yeah.
right? So ECOWAS should take a back seat and look, deep dive into it and say, hey, what's going on here? Hey,
Mhm.
French, US, stay away.
Mhm.
Okay, we don't want no troops, we don't want no war. We just need to see what's best for that nation, because it's going to have impact in the neighboring countries,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But still belongs to our leadership, the leaders in
Agree.
ECOWAS, right?
Yeah,
The leaders in ECOWAS should be aware, should be able to say, hey, stand up, just wait, let us deal with our own laundry. We're not putting our laundry out.
yeah.
That's my opinion.
Oh no, Eddie, and I agree with that assessment, because when you talk about the lack of leadership that has hurt Africa for centuries now, and including a lot of Caribbean nations, to name Haiti, Jamaica, and a few others, I'll point to President Kagame from Rwanda, where now you have strong leadership. He's still been criticized by the West over human rights and so on. He dared to say that, hey, what is human rights? Is it through your lenses or through the lenses of a country that just went through one of the worst genocide only in 1994, to now having a Volkswagen vehicle plant in their country to show the economic and social progress they've made since 1994. So you need the leadership. Without the leadership and accountability, you cannot have strong Africanism, and the growth that we all wish to see in Africa is not going to happen. So I think you're right on that.
You know, and we look at it, Africa as a whole, it's a very unique continent, right?
Mhm.
It's one of the largest continent in the world, one of the diverse group of cultures, very rich in culture, and that's why it's called the motherland, right? But we got to look at what China is doing right now. China is systematically investing
Yeah,
a lot of money building infrastructures, right? Using mostly their people to do most of the work,
yeah, yeah,
and hiring some locals, to provide employment for them. We got to keep an eye on that,
yeah,
because this is what's going to happen. They're going to come in, they're going to invest their money and time, they're going to have total control of that part of the world,
yeah.
right?
Mhm.
But they're doing it on the pretense that we're going to build new ports so that transportation can come in. We're going to provide housing and roads in the areas we're building, all in good faith. But
Yeah,
there's always a cost, there's always a price.
yeah,
African leaders should look at that and say, thanks for your help. Okay, you want to come in here? We're going to use our engineers, we're going to use our people, we're going to provide, infrastructure for them. We have to, it has to be two-way street.
yeah,
You're investing in our country, but we have to have 51% or more say in it, even though you're providing the money and funding it. If we stand their ground, we're going to stop those systematic way of penetrating African nations. It
oh,
may
I agree.
come at a little price, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Because they can call our bluff and say, oh, no, we're not going to do that. But
Keep their
okay,
money. Right.
keep your money, I don't need your money. We're going to continue to strive for progress, right?
Mhm.
A united Africa can take over the world in terms of everything. We have best doctors, education. We have all the resources, that we can be self-sustained if our leadership can come together and say, hey, Africanism is the way to go.
Yeah. I agree, brother. So let's get off the politics for a moment and talk about this trip you took to the motherland and some wonderful work that are being done out there. Please name the partners, give them their flowers and all they've been doing. Tell us about this wonderful trip you took and how you're seeing the growth of football in Gambia and across Africa.
Well, as you're probably aware, I stepped away from the youth soccer coaching and directorship in the US. I am for certain reasons, right? Development, it's a key. Football, soccer is my passion. I've played it all my life at different levels, and I've coached it at all levels. But it gets to the point where you can look at it and say, what impact am I really, really making? Is the infrastructure and the environment allowing me to, you know, build future generations, not just on the soccer field, but better human beings, right?
Mhm.
And so for years, I've been supporting a friend of mine, interesting story. His name is Michael Nico, who um, through my network of soccer families and friends and organizations here through my nonprofit foundation, be able to send, equipment and support, countries, academies in Africa, South America, all parts of the world, right?
Mhm.
The beauty about my trip was the fact that when I landed, I was very shocked to see little kids, adults, coaches wearing just t-shirt, jerseys, soccer cleats that were sent from the Tampa Bay area.
Nice.
That means it's getting to the kids.
Yeah.
It's getting to those that needs it. The interesting part about it, over here we think charity. Oh, let's just give them this. Let's just give them this. Michael do provide a lot for those for that community,
Mhm.
but he does it in a different way. He makes them earn it. He tells the kid, go to school. You got to do he incentivizes them by making sure they're not just getting handed,
Yeah.
stuff, right? So now these kids know they got to go to school. They got to be respectful. They got to shake hands. They got to look at you when you're talking to them. Those little things to make them
Mhm.
better human beings,
Yeah.
right? Before he gives them, which to me was great because we
Very
want to
nice.
do charity. We want to just throw stuff. Kids don't appreciate it. People that receive it don't appreciate it. So my trip was when I went to Senegal first, right? I
Mhm.
went to Generation Foot. This is where the academy that Sadio Mane, right? FC Metz actually funds and channel players to Generation Foot. And just looking at it, the French team Metz is funding an academy. That
In
academy
Senegal.
in Senegal is the best academy in Africa, based on from my perspective, because there's so many players that's come out of that academy, and they've
Yeah.
only been about 20, 21 years old. In the
And
past,
Eddie, just a quick note for those that didn't hear, again, this is the academy that produced Sadio Mane that used to play for Liverpool FC and now is in Saudi Arabia for playing for Al Hilal, right?
yeah, yeah.
Okay. Mhm. Go ahead.
So he is one of those, but there's a bunch of other players that left. That majority of the Senegalese national team, as you can tell, they're very good. They are the
Mhm.
best football program in Africa right now. Their grassroots foot program is incredible. I was able to talk to the leaders, the former national team coach of Senegal national team, and I saw what they're doing from grassroots. It still has some French influence because you have this, Lyon and all these FC Mets, they're actually creating pathway to the academy system for
Okay.
those kids to have an opportunity. And it's all about schooling, playing football. Okay. So I saw the Senegalese way of doing grassroots soccer. I was very impressed. Then back to Michael Nichols. He's been asking me for over 2, 3 years now, Eddie, you got to come visit. You got to come to Africa.
Mhm.
You know, obviously we always come up with excuses, too busy, life is in the way, blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah. I'll keep supporting you from afar. I decided this year, I'm just going to go. I haven't been back in Africa for years, so I went to Senegal, did football operations there, met with some important people. Then I went to Gambia. Gambia on the map, Gambia is one of the smallest nation. I think it's the smallest nation in Africa.
Mhm.
Okay. And Gambia and Senegal, I think they used to be one country, right? They got divided. Um, and then the Gambian side is colonized by the British. And obviously the Senegalese have French influence.
Yeah.
But regardless of that, right? As two nations, they're very cordial, very
Yeah.
friendly with each other. I mean, you can hardly tell the difference, except, in Senegal, they have a lot of Muslims. In Gambia, too, has a lot of Muslim influence because it used to be one nation.
Mhm.
But while I was there, you can't tell the difference. They had one of their festival over there, and everybody was involved. It was like a national holiday in
Mhm.
Senegal. And even though
In
it's an
Gambia.
Islamic, yeah, even though it was an Islamic holiday, it was a united to see everybody in that spirit. So
Yeah.
to me, it was great. It's not about what it's a Muslim holiday or Muslim festival. No, it's national for everybody.
Yeah.
Okay. So now going to Gambia, I saw what Michael has done. Okay, that man got a piece of property close to the airport. He got denied 9 times. 9 times.
A lot of
Every
persistence.
a lot of persistence. And in Africa, to do business in Africa, there's something on the lines, the silent stuff that you need to produce. You
No.
can have all your documents, but if you don't grease elbows and
Yeah.
hand in some stuff, it's not going to move forward. But Michael is a very smart man. So when they denied him the first time, he says, "Oh, no problem. Why? Just give me
Yeah.
why. Oh, you're missing this document." He goes and produces that document, right? And the next question is denied. Why?
Of
Because he
course.
said he refuses to feed into the system. I'm going to keep producing what they need until they cannot say no anymore. So it took him 9 attempts, 9 times before they finally granted him.
The document.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so now he's based out of Miami. He
Okay.
goes to Gambia at least 4 times a year. It now got so drawn into it because he sees the needs of the people, and he's been providing, financially and emotionally supporting everybody in that Medina area. And for me to be on ground to see that firsthand, it kind of changes my view, you know,
Mhm.
of what is necessary, what wants, and what are the actual needs, right? So
Yeah.
it gave me a change of focus to say, hey, do I really need this or do I want it? So every decision now is based on that. Okay. Necessity should always outweigh wants, right?
Of course.
Because want will always allow you to waste a lot of stuff. You want it now, you play with it, you use it, it ends up in a yard sale or in your garage somewhere. Now, going back to Medina United, I saw something from scratch, what it's transformed into. I saw great young players. I mean, I'm talking to a bunch of U9s, right? Watching them, and their focus is right on you. No blink. They just, U12, U15s, up to the men's team. They're playing in Division 3. They won Division 3, and now they're in 2. But just to see that when you're talking to them, the attention, even some of them that didn't understand English,
Yeah.
have their eyes locked on you.
So, Eddie, if I can interject this, Michael has been able to not only build a soccer program, but we're talking about is raising responsible, focused, driven, and purposeful young men as well at such a young age.
Absolutely. Give you a perfect example. When I was there, we do go business all day, go to soccer, do all the soccer stuff. We come home to relax and maybe have dinner. And almost every evening, we get a knock on the door. And there could be 4 kids, 8 kids, 10 kids. Michael's like, those are my people. You know, you see a man becoming a kid.
Yeah.
So he opens the door, guess what it does? Provides them bread, sardines, water, whatever, every evening. The
No.
kids just know when there's no wastage when they need something. It became a common theme that
Yeah.
I got to see many kids, right, coming and we just sit outside and the kids are just talking and just having fun and a smile in their face. Okay. So this past couple of days, I think it was Thursday, Thursday, there was a big rainfall in that part. I'll send you pictures. And this home was totally destroyed with the rain. Family in hospital, kids, and these are those little kids. Guess where those families are staying at Michael's house right now as we
Oh,
speak.
oh.
Okay.
So it's
And he
more than
said
just a business
it's more than,
or a non-profit.
yeah, it's more than that. I mean, I can send you pictures and he sent it to me and I saw those kids while I was there to see now they have no home,
Wow.
right? And it was not a question. And Mike is back in Miami, but they're all staying in his house right
In
now.
his house.
And his thing is as long as it takes for them to get back on their feet, there's no question they're gonna get fed, everything. That to me is how you impact and change life. Okay. And so that man is done great. He hasn't stopped. What he's done is brought a lot more responsibility upon him,
Of
right?
course.
You start from your passion, your love for the game, and then it became a situation now that everybody's dependent on you, and now you cannot fail them, you know? And so that is giving me a new perception that I have to go to places like that. I need to do more. I need to do more. And I have a huge support here that actually provides me some of those necessary equipment, used and new, that I can send to them. I just recently went to visit Wesley, Sporting Wesley Chapel or Sporting Tampa Bay, and they donated a huge box for the coaches of brand new, soccer apparels and all that. And
Nice.
those are going to be picked up this weekend. So we have to do more because
Eddie,
football is a universal language.
not only that, but the human race as a whole, especially in this day and age where there's so much divides across nations, across people, this is wonderful to see such a international project uh, come to fruition, right? Mike is a wonderful human being, just like you are. You guys are really impacting your communities, both here and across Africa. So kudos to you guys on that and keep on doing it. That's all I can say at this stage. But we would love to know how people listening in or watching this can pitch in or help out if they so choose.
No, it'll be great. I have some information on them. Like I said, while I was there, these kids will come in on a Friday evening. Okay, maybe 40 to 50 kids. There's 2 locker rooms, right? There's just blankets, mats, and mattresses here. And those kids will stay in those 2 small rooms. That's where they'll sleep on Friday night. They get fed, they train all day Saturday, they play matches or whatever they have to do on Sunday, then they send them back home. The reason being is because the parents cannot even afford to bring them every day to practice, but Mike make sure they school Monday to Friday, right? They have to go to school. Over there they walk to school. But coming to practice, on Saturdays, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, the parents cannot do that. They have to try and earn a living somehow. So he made it a point that let's get them. He has a boss, 2 bosses that sometimes he goes and pick those kids up, bring them to the facility, provide, room and board for that
Yeah.
weekend. And you know what's even crazy? They come in Friday evening, they'll train, they have dinner, whatever they do. Saturday they have morning training. Maybe they might have a later session in the evening. These kids they don't understand breaks. In between, they just playing. So they spend the whole weekend playing
Playing soccer.
and then training and playing.
Yeah,
And it makes up for the Monday to Thursday that they won't train, but it doesn't mean they're not playing in their neighborhood,
of course.
you know? So it's like, guys, it's hot. When are you going to rest? They always find something to do. Soccer, tennis, they're constantly out there playing. That's the passion.
That's the love and passion for the game. Eddie, unfortunately, we're running out of time, but you definitely gonna come back. We know that. But until the next time we talk, especially for this project, what's the main thing you want people to remember about this? And obviously, we'll add the links and different phone numbers if someone wants to participate and help out. We'll also add them in the descriptions of these videos. But what's the arching theme, the main thing you want people to remember about this project?
It's to remember that little drops of water can become an ocean, right? No amount, is too small or large. And if people want to help out, I can guarantee you that whatever that they help support the program goes 100% to those kids in needs, right? When I say needs, it's not only like what you see in the news and all that. This is actual impacting kids, giving them a future, giving them opportunity. So don't worry. It can be anonymous. Whatever you put in, right, would help. I'll send you the information, you post it, and we all together in this, right? We all together, we can be direct, making impact, but there's some silent impact makers across the world, right? If you want to be direct, contact us. If you just want to be a silent contributor and monitor whatever, they tax deductible as a nonprofit. So just think about it. Every penny counts. Every little drop of water can make a lot of noise and changes.
Eddie, I can't thank you enough. Keep doing the good work. We'll talk soon, and we'll post all the information about this wonderful project.
I appreciate it, and happy to be the first on your show. And I know you're a perfectionist. I know where you're taking this. This is going to be a global voice, and I know for sure that you should definitely make sure your voice is heard in Africa. We need this show to impact Africa, and I know you got the pedigree to make it happen, and obviously sharing news and giving people an opportunity to come out and express themselves. So I
Thank
thank
you
you
so
for
much,
that.
my brother. Thank you.
All right.
All right.
God bless. Thanks for your time.
You too. Thanks.
Bye.